it's time for our next matchup. The Kansas City Pioneers probably looking to do the same thing against Team Queso here, Ribs.
Yeah, no, KCP does not want to sleep on Queso at all. They want to, like Fran said, show that they have the discipline to just go through pool play undefeated. We've seen KCP struggle before in pool play. They're like the opposite of teams that we talked about. They struggle in pool play. It just shows that they're just going to play better in championship Saturday and Sunday. But we're looking at this roster here. These are our defending champions. Bronny, after winning his first ever event, last event, trying to go back-to-back. Meanwhile, Xysho, Acells, Hndles, this core three has won 4 championships in a row. They're going for their 5th championship in a row. If you add the mid-split playoffs, they're going for 5 and 6. These guys are just amazing. I don't think they're going to lose today, and I don't think they're going to lose this weekend. I mean, it's just hard to bet against them.
Yeah, but at the same time, we've seen them struggle a little bit in pool play and then obviously come out swinging in championship bracket where they really show up. And that was, I think, it's been a while ago since that ever happened. But we do have the Team Queso roster as well, franchise. Talking about this squad.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have been around for a while. Cristalize and Sleeafer, we've definitely seen them. The one guy that I will say that kind of came out of nowhere and has kind of impressed a lot of the players is Problems. He's a guy that's shown a lot of talent consistently against top teams. Can we see it? Can we see a group effort? Can we see them all on point at once? I don't know, but I'm glad to have these guys early on play Pioneers, where this is a good chance. This is their best chance at catching Pioneers. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what they can do.
Yeah, Team Queso, Battle of LATAM versus North America. I'm excited for this matchup, that's for sure. You saw Fiersley give a lot of love to LATAM earlier. But let's go ahead and jump right into map picks and bans. Jordan, starting with the bans here, walk us through what we're seeing.
Sure thing. So Reactor Control is going to be taken out from Team Queso. KCP is going to ban Spire Control, Ephira Execution, as well as Harbor Escalation for that one Escalation ban. And Tomb Execution will be banned by Team Queso. So pretty standard stuff here for the most part. Getting rid of that Reactor on the side of Team Queso makes a lot of sense. KCP is a very strong Reactor team. And for Queso, also taking out Tomb Execution is a smart ban, my opinion.
Meanwhile, on the picks, franchise, what are we seeing?
I mean, the first pick with Regency, that surprised me. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna say Queso's definitely picking Reactor. We've seen him pick it so many times, but they feel more confident with Regency against Pioneers, and they might see something that we don't. But then you see Pioneers pick Clocktower. You have Vasgar, which is a map that Pioneers are very comfortable with, and then you have Pioneers picking District, and then finishing it off with Checkout. These maps are, I'm not gonna lie, just looking at it, they're gonna be difficult for Queso.
Yeah, especially against the reigning champs in the Kansas City Pioneers. But hey, we've seen some crazy things happen today. We saw Hive really stick it to and perform really, really well in their matchup against the United. We'll see if Team Queso can do the same exact thing. It's time now for our franchise keys to victory, starting with the Kansas City Pioneers and starting with you, Ribs.
All right, looking at that first bullet point. Melt that cheese. Turn the heat up on the case. In America, queso is always melted anyway. I know queso in Espanol just means cheese, but you got to get out of my face with these dad jokes. And I don't even get to see this beforehand, so now this is just my reaction. And then, of course, the second bullet point makes more sense. Use your superior teamwork. Speed up their decision making. That makes sense. I love it. But no, it's true. I mean, you can have all the cheese puns, all the wordplay that you want. Team Queso loves it. That's why that's their org name. They knew they knew what they were doing when they chose that name, okay?
Best possible org name. Best thing that happened to Gears Esports in a while was Team Queso coming to Gears Esports. The worst thing that happened in a while to Gears Esports was giving franchise responsibility for these keys to victory. He told us he's coming in swing. He's coming in hot with dad jokes all weekend long. He was not kidding. Fran, what are the keys to victory? And you got to one up yourself with the pun or the dad joke here. Oh my God.
You got to stop. He needs to be stopped.
Listen, it makes sense though.
Right.
Look, you got to throw a little wrinkle in there. You add some chips for your case. You got to throw something a little extra in there.
Okay.
Because if you don't, it's not gonna work. I mean,
that's a stretch, brother.
Come on, you got to
stretch.
When you're playing champs, you have to throw some new looks at them. Something that they don't expect. And you might expect chips with queso, but maybe some hot chips.
I guess you're right.
It's just something. You got to throw something at them. And then obviously you got to win the escalation. Vasgar has been the bread and butter for the Pioneers for so long now, ever since I was playing them. So they love that map. Can you take that map? And if you can, maybe you got a good chance at winning this match.
I'm just still stuck on the chips and the queso thing. I think honestly, now that I think about it, I think you're onto something here, friend. I mean, like some generic regular chips that maybe aren't lightly salted or aren't salted. You need a little variety of chips. You throw some extra chips in there, and now it's a party. I think you actually might be onto something. The metaphor was good. The dad jokes, maybe we're okay. We'll accept them for now. But that's the keys to success for both teams. Good to get the perspective of both of these gentlemen. Now it's time to jump right into predictions. Obviously, I think I know where probably most of you are going with this. But hey, Ribs, you surprised me last time with the Rebel pick. You going to take the safe pick this time around?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm not going to vote against PK again afterwards, and then definitely not going to vote against KCP here. On the side of Queso, though, if they are going to win this, I agree. Win that escalation. I'm also looking at that second map, Clocktower. If they could get the sniper into the hands of Sleeafer, that is definitely a key to victory for them. If they could win that map and Vasgar, force a map number 5, I don't see them winning the controls. That is the only road I could see Queso taking and getting the W. But right now, KCP looks too strong. Throughout this whole split, they look strong. Queso did take out Rise earlier in the Pro League, but it's just a whole different North American beast in the Pioneers.
That's right. So Ribs has the Kansas City Pioneers winning it. Franchise, you agreeing?
Listen, man, there's just too many stallions in that barn. All right, there's those.
He's in rare form, John. He's in rare form.
He is in rare form.
I'm doing my best Colin impersonation. All right, Colin is living through me right now. But yeah, Pioneers are taking this 100%.
I got KCP as well. 3-2-0. I think KCP saw what PK just did. They're wanting to send a statement across the shot fired across the world. I'm also channeling my inner Colin with like historical references and metaphors and all sorts of things you got to throw in there. So now, next thing you know, I'm going to start speaking with an accent. We'll see. But hey, that's gonna be it for us talking heads and the pregame show for this upcoming matchup. We got this match between the Kansas City Pioneers and Team Queso around the corner. Before we get that started and throw to our casters, we actually have a little content piece for y'all, courtesy of Astro Gaming. Let's take a look.
What's going on, guys? Jacob and VPR here, and joined with me is not Shady. It's going to be somebody that is slightly better. Edwin, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
We've been able to see some great things when it comes to Astro, including Astro battles. I myself have been able to cast the action alongside Frank, and we got to see some 1v1s go down with one player getting crowned champion. We got to see the early portions of 2v2 with TJ and Powers having a comeback of a lifetime. But what other great things does Astro have in store for us?
I mean, like you said, right, Jacob, Astro battles have been great so far. I mean, that 1v1 finals with TJ Force versus Axel was absolutely incredible. Ooh. I mean, I had a great time watching that. And then, obviously, we had the final season open number 1, which was on April 9th, which you had, obviously, Team United with TJ Force and Powers coming in strong and winning that, carrying home some cash. And then, obviously, we have April 29th, we got the final season open number 2. We just want to end this strong here in Gears Esports.
Yeah, that comeback was absolutely fantastic from TJ and Powers, looking to kind of replicate that this weekend and take home the prize money that they're fighting for. But there's so many other prizes for everybody to watch, to win, just to enter, and that's all from Astro. I heard something about a gazillion headset up for grabs. Can we get some more details so I can go ahead and hit my phone in the back and try to win one myself?
I mean, Gears Esports is not the same without some watch and win and some prizes for the people at home. So make sure you tune in this weekend for the major live.gearsofwar.com. We're going to be giving away some A40 headsets, some speaker tags, and some wireless headsets, some A20s and some A50s for those people watching at home.
And see what the speaker tags are looking like. You guys always cook up some fire, whether it's the merch, the headsets, the speaker tags. I got to get my hands on it all like I'm looking at a buffet. But there's also going to be something special. You guys been doing it time and time again, the Astro MVP Award. Tell me about it.
Man, this time, we came together along with UMG and make some incredible new speaker tags, for the spring major. We made some for the winter major, and we're able to show those off, and then the fall major. So excited to see who's going to be the next Astro MVP for the spring major.
Yeah, I know. Seen some fire speaker tags. Might have to get me my own pair. Enter the competition some way or another. And honestly, speaking about competition, we have some elite teams. We got Rise, we got Pittsburgh Knights, the Pioneers, good old classic United, but only one can really crown themselves champion at the end of the day. Shady, I don't know if he's gotten any bit correct since he's been here, but let's see if you have any more luck up your sleeve. Who are you voting for? And maybe you can give me a little bit of reason why.
So obviously the top 4 teams, man, they're all looking very, very strong. I was able to catch a split a few times, but Shady always does this. He always goes with Rise, but this time I feel like I can go with Rise. Avexis have been on a tear, these past few weeks. So I feel like, this time they should be able to bring home, hopefully bring home that championship on Sunday. So they need to bring their A game, though, because I know they'll fall short a couple times. But I just think this time I have a feeling, I'm not going to jinx him. I'm going to hopefully give him some, some motivation to come in on Sunday and hopefully take over.
I don't know if it's coincidence or not, but what a better fitting pick. Rise of Vexy, one of the most winning Astro Battles players as well. And he's going to have a big chip on his shoulder, looking to have an MVP season. Maybe he can win the championship, the Astro MVP, but only time will tell. That's going to do it for us here, Edwin and myself. And let's get back into that Gears of War action.
Jacob knows how to do the best interviews out there with Edwin. Loved hearing from him, from his perspective. A lot of prizes for all of you out there in the chat. I hope you're earning them with the watch and win. But Toby, it's time to get serious. Time to move in to our matchup. KCP versus Team Queso. Let's talk about history, and let's talk about the last time they played and what this time might bring differently.
Yeah, that's the question, Ryan. It does raise some questions straight off the bat in terms of the picks and bans, right? We were kind of talking about this in general. Well, the result, of course, day 7 of Pro League, 3-1 to KCP. So kind of predictable, I guess, result. I think many would agree. Even the analysts for this game were predicting, 3-2 all towards KCP, or 3 votes in their favor. But the question for us in particular, right, Taylor, which we really wanted to, I guess, talk about here is Clocktower. Interesting one. Team Queso 6-4'd KCP in that matchup, but then again, you see KCP picking Clocktower, map number 2, straight off the rip. I mean, what is that? I think they've done that in the past with the Major, right? They purposely want to play the map that has previously been used to beat them in their previous matchup, and they do it in a Major as though it's kind of like just kind of get revenge or something. What do you think, Taylor?
I think it is. KCP, there's no doubt about it. They have the utmost confidence. And at times, I'm going to use this word loosely, but cocky, right? They genuinely feel like they could beat everybody out there. But they have beat everybody out there, Toby. That's the scary thing about them. KCP hasn't lost a major in so incredibly long. So at this point, KCP can talk that trash and they can ego anybody out there until they lose themselves. This is going to be a big battle. It really is. Team Queso is a talented roster that you have to take seriously. For KCP, my biggest concern, and I really hope this doesn't happen, Toby, I hope they don't underestimate what Team Queso is about to bring.
Absolutely. I think Team Queso have been another one of these teams, right, where they have certainly really caused some upsets, I want to say, in terms of major performances compared to how you'd expect them to perform based on their Pro League results, right? They have been kind of that disruptor, if you will. I think that's the term that you've used in the past.
That's fair.
But the question is, it's against KCP, who likewise do also benefit from that major energy, right? Which is concerning for not only Team Queso, but I think everyone here. Just dialing on that a little bit more in terms of KCP, they won the last major when previously everyone was looking at them like they kind of had a bad performance in Pro League, really underperforming. Bronny is in. They're going to lose with that precision. Then they just go out and win. So how are they feeling now after going through that, Taylor? All the tests behind that and all things that encompass around that. They must be over the moon right now, and it kind of just doesn't raise your eyebrow at that point. They can just pick any map, I guess, and they can feel confident nonetheless.
The big thing for KCP, for me personally, and I sent this to Bronny in a DM, if they never win a major again, if they don't win the next 2 majors, if they underperform, what they did in the winter major was still spectacular. To go from the 5th seed into the major to, just with the new addition, losing your main Slayer precision, Bronny going, that was amazing. But so even if they don't do it again this weekend, not that I'm counting them out, I'm still going to be impressed with that last major. But again, this is going to be a tough battle. And for Team Queso, Toby, they have so much composure on this map that I have seen them come back in such a miraculous fashion. But look at Acells, Jesus, coming straight into Cristalize and problems. Now Jaled has to face off against them, and Jaled is going to have a tough time. It looks like Team Queso dominate the initial until KCP, specifically Acells, rolls up and just dismantles all of them.
Yeah, and he could be the best player in the game, right? Acells, let's just say it how it is. He could be literally the best player in the game, and you expect him to really turn up this event as he did the last to really help KCP to another chip. which honestly I think many are predicting they could very well do. Ribs even saying they aren't going to drop a match this entire event. So,
that's bold.
You know, it is bold. It's huge. But, you know, I can't... It's hard to really go up against KCP. Prediction-wise, Acells, Speak of the Devil, double, not able to find the triple. Jaled, the new player, of course, to Team Queso, finding the kill there. But, yeah, let's see, ultimately, how Team Queso do on this first map.
Well, they are going to have a bit of priority up top. Now, it is going to be a bit of a mismatch. They're kind of disconjointed, and that's because they've been staggered a bit in the way that they've been dying. Great 1v1 between Hndles and Sleeafer. Hndles, he's been just excellent in every way, shape, and form, and he's going to take down yet another one. This gives him an opportunity to scout out steps. Jaled sees that. He knows it's not going to be a good push, so he actually doubles back a bit. As long as Jaled is distracted, that limits your numbers if you're Team Queso for pushing onto the next hill, which they still haven't done, but you better believe KCP's ready for it.
Yeah. Hndles is already approaching from the back to make sure he can be proactive during the situation, you know, close enough to make an impact, so it's not just simply a 4v3. He's forced a 1v on the back end. Bronny pushing on through. Speaking of it earlier. Very, very good player in of his own right. Double for him. Looking to clean up the triple.
Wow.
Problem was well played indeed. I mean, it's just smooth as butter right now for KCP, isn't it? It's not only the scoreline, it's just qualitatively, right? Looking at these players, how they're moving, that they just seem so comfortable in how they're playing right now on this map. And Team Queso really need to start finding their footing, or KCP, as they're known to do, could just run away with this.
When we did Gear Super Day, Bronny was making so many confident pushes. Xysho, the entire roster was so... I mean, look at how well executed that push was, whether it was with the Nashers, whether it was with the nade. Team Queso just absolutely get melted. I guess they've been listening to Fran over there for the keys of victory, because they're doing exactly that, and the chips are non-existent for Team Queso. They can't find them. They're out of it, and they haven't even gone to the store to pick them up. By the time they get back, the series is going to be done with. 99-11. Xysho ready to go with the M-bar, and he scares me with the M-bar, Toby. The plays that he makes with it is just, it's amazing.
Oh, couldn't disagree with that, that's for sure. And it's the last thing that Team Queso really want on their plate, really, to deal with, especially in front of these two steps here. Oh, stairs. Here they go. Body check onto one. Bronny finding one. Make that a second. It is a clean sweep through the fight there at the hill. One player left alive, of course, Sleeafer from across the way. And KCP just taking it easy. Look at the stats that we bring it up. 1-5, 1-5, 1-6. Immediately jumping out to me of three players of Team Queso. And we can't even get into the conversation of, you know, how Jaled has fit into the team, you know, losing Chavi and stuff, when really it's just a team thing at this point in time. Pioneer's going off, some individuals going off for KCP in terms of their roster, but they really need to have any individuals going off right now? They're just dominating.
They're just dominating. I mean, it's getting silly at this point in time. You know, Blaze said it best. Like, when it comes, and he specifically for Hndles, he said he's stingy, Toby. Like, he wants every point. And Hndles on your screen, he's going to die off there. But, I mean, the damage was done. 25 seconds. Team Queso's down a tremendous amount of points. You can't feel good after winning that fight, even though you do. You get the ball rolling a little bit, but now you're giving up priority on Statue. You're also 15 seconds, right? M-bar surely is going to go to KCP. Look at how they break out. I love this defensive setup. I mean, they're funneling Team Queso in. They're going to pepper them up. You're going for the nades? Sure, okay, but you're going to be on your last down and out by the time you get away.
Yeah, stunning. Really, really quite something. And just honestly, shout out to the European team, massive. This is something that they do so well over in Europe that I noticed immediately when I was casting, is that when they gain a presence on the map and they really are starting to come into their own, they do actually push up towards the middle line. This is what KCP do. It's what a lot of these top American teams do when they get into such a dominant position. They leverage the entire map to their advantage, really corner them off best they can, not just simply sit on the most optimal covers, if you will, of a setup. Let's see. Ooh, Acells almost finding that. But, I mean, just look at how far away the fights are. This is what I mean by map presence. Map control kind of almost goes out the window at that point, because there just isn't enough map for Team Queso here in this situation to deal with, to really do much with. But here they finally get some footing, and they finally get to the hill to make a play.
Well, maybe make a play. I mean, already he's getting body shot by Xysho, plus the finishes in. Sleeafer having a bit of a hard time. Cristalize as well. What play was made, Toby, right? I mean, Team Queso are just non-existent on this map, which this is the thing, right? Every single time they get into a team fight with KCP and KCP wins it, knowing that they're on the main stage, the bright lights, like all the eyes are on Team Queso, right? I mean, this has to be at some point demoralizing, but more importantly, every single fight you lose, it's almost like you start blacking out, not in a good way where you just start popping off. You black out and it should be, everything becomes a blur. You've got to get your mentality back. Team Queso has to get the ball rolling. Toby, this is a massacre.
It is. It truly is. And you don't even have to look at the scoreline to know that. You just look at what's going on your screen in terms of the characters and who they're shooting and how well they're doing at that. Bronny finding another kill there, just penalizing Team Queso on their positioning. If they get damaged a little bit, the KCP can just sweep in and just get a kill and get out. And it's just so demoralizing. Excellent word to use, honestly. And it's in the wider context, especially. Regency is Team Queso's pick, right? They really need to make this work. This is their optimal choice for the control. They'll have to play KCP later on their map on this one. Now, sadly for them, the start of the series is just not going well at all. Look at that. Just being timed out across different ends of the map. What more do you want?
Dude, what was so collectively 4, 8, 10, 12 kills. 12 kills for the entirety of Team Queso. It's getting out of hand. Sleeafer can't even get the M-bar. He's going to be Lancered down. I don't even know if he gets it backpacked. We'll find out very shortly, and he doesn't. There's going to be 2 M-bars on the side for Xysho and Hndles. Acells has nades. This hill has, just 18 more seconds. I mean, Bronny is in a 1v2. He's dancing around. He still refused to die after a certain point, and Team Queso might not even win the scrap time because Acells has a meat shield. It's now gone. He's going to close the gap. He's going to die. But I mean, at the end of the day, for what? For what? For 2 points. For 2 points.
Yeah, I think Acells probably would have rotated earlier if the scoreline was much different than it is. But because the way it is in front of us, the reality is they're perhaps taking it a little bit easier and looking for more kills in perhaps places they necessarily don't have to. 261 to 40. Team Queso finally have a setup, as it were, but honestly, it seems like a matter of time, Taylor, for KCP to get back and get into the swing of things and make the play for this hill, for what should be the last hill of the map if they're quick enough.
So I do want to take some positives, though, for Team Queso and maybe accentuate some of the close maps that they have had in the past. Regency was one of them. They were down 297 to about 180, 200, and they came back and won 300 to 299. I know the composure's there, but I mean, even as I'm trying to set that up, 40 points remain on the hill. Team Queso gets wiped off. I mean, Toby, I'm really trying hard to just, to make a positive impact about Team Queso here, but it's just, I'm finding nothing. Every time I see something, it's taken away instantly. Final push for Team Queso, Toby. Nades are going to be out. Bronny, he throws them as one up close and personal. There are a couple of marks, but Bronny has the backside of a 1. That's going to be a bit of a trade. Maybe a chance for Team Queso to keep the map alive. Well, that should solidify it. Player 5 has to sprint. 300 to 59, Toby. I think this is where it might end. We'll find out very shortly. Can they get close enough? Chalk it up. 300 to 59 is the official ending. KCP will be 1-0 up. We don't even get 10 minutes for map 1.
Well, that was something, wasn't it? Oh, my goodness. 13 to 7. And honestly, the kills would have been a lot higher if the game was shorter, rather longer, because it was so short. It doesn't really go to show the gravity of what was going on slaying-wise. You just have to look at the deaths, I guess, of Team Queso. 13, 13, 12, 14 in what was a really fast control map, right?
Yeah.
And so it honestly goes without saying, I guess, for the viewers at home, what just occurred in front of us. KCP absolutely dominated from start to finish. They thoroughly deserve the scoreline that they got in the end, and it does absolutely reflect as to what occurred. And to be honest, I remember the one play that Team Queso made, the first break of a hill, of a setup, if you will, and it was only like 10, 15 seconds left.
That's it.
I think Team Queso were just happy at that point that they won a team fight. Forget the hills, forget the objective, forget the points. It's just like, we can win team fights again? All right, cool.
Right.
Let's see if we can actually win another. And that's the goal. You have to go back to basics at that point and prove that you can even contest on that level, never mind the points level. So at this point, Team Queso really can't allow that to demoralize themselves. They've got Clocktower next, Taylor. But let's take a look at how map number 1 went down.
I mean, it's going to be a highlight reel of Acells, Bronny, Xysho, Hndles. I mean, that's pretty much it. We might have one play from Team Queso potentially, but I mean, it was just absolutely a massacre. Not even in Pro League did they lose this hard. You know, Toby, for KCP, in the way that they played in Super Day on Tuesday, they played against Rebel. They dismantled them. We were seeing highlight plays from Bronny. We were seeing highlight plays from Acells, Hndles, and Xysho. I mean, when I say highlight plays, I don't say that loosely. I mean genuine highlight plays where they were just picking up miraculous plays, just flipping the script. I mean, whatever way you want to put it. They did the exact same thing against Team Queso, but I'm going to be honest with you, brother. That was even more violent than it was against Rebel. Like, that right there was the way they just dismantled Team Queso gives me flashbacks to when Precision was still on the roster and they played against Pittsburgh Knights in grand finals. We were hyping up PK. We thought this was the chance. And I mean, Chaos was on that roster and before Fiercely replaced them, and KCP destroyed them. Absolutely decimated them. And that's the same vibes I'm getting here. I don't even think Team Queso even remembers map number 1, to be honest, at this point. I mean, seriously, I think it was all a blur. They just blacked out. It didn't even exist, Toby.
Honestly, I think it's a similar storyline for KCP in that they were just playing. They were just in a flow state, right? They weren't really doing much. They weren't thinking about much. They weren't having to really stretch their communications or smarts or strats too far. They were just playing the game. And they're that good at the game, at that level, and that was so comfortable for them individually and as a team that they were just in a flow state. They were just relaxed. They weren't really thinking about too much. And the time just flew by as a result, you know? It goes back to that saying, right? When you're having fun, time flies by. But it's funny. I think both, you know, in a way, did probably have forgotten quite a bit about that map number 1 because it was just so fast in that sense and for different reasons. Anyway,
well,
psychology,
Toby,
I guess.
Hey, you would know about it. All right. You know about that psychology. You know, Toby, for me, it goes back to one of the first segments Fran did. Fallout, you know, introduced him and asked him, you know, as a previous champion, what would you be telling your team heading into group play? And Fran made a great point. You know, starting on Friday and even leading into Saturday, you're setting the foundation for your roster to be a champion, and that's what you're. And obviously he knows that he did that the first 2 majors. My goodness, he's done that throughout his career, right? So this is nothing new. But you set that foundation, which means on Friday, when you know it's pretty much a shoe, and there are teams you just know are going to make it to the championship bracket. There's no other way about it. KCP is one of them, right? It would be crazy to not see them make it out of group play and into the bracket. But it's easy for a team like that to be as dominant as they are to skate by. Take today and just look at it and be like, this is silly. Why are we even trying? You know, let's just take a back seat. And just move on to championship bracket and start trying from there. But with the way KCP just played that, you can tell, Toby, they're taking this seriously. They're setting the foundation. They're setting the foundation of we're going to dominate any opponent that we play. I respect that tremendously, Toby.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I think something we were talking about before this event actually is their Pro League performance, because it has been something that's varied quite a bit in KCP's history. Because it does there's a huge dynamic there between that and the major with KCP, right? They seem like a completely different team when it comes to majors. Totally in a way, I kind of respect that. You know, the question remained, of course, with Pro League. Of course, a huge talking point that we touched upon is the fact that they lost their coach Jackal, who was their coach for a very long time.
That's right.
An amazing person I've known personally for a very long time, formerly back in the European scene of competitive gears, right? And he's such a hard worker, and you just know, even from interviews alone, that he put in the work. And so when they lost that asset to the team, you felt like maybe that was a reason perhaps that Pro League performance was down. Maybe they weren't trying, you know, practicing as hard. They weren't. He wasn't keeping them in check, so to speak, as much as perhaps he used to. And things just changed fundamentally, management-wise, but for the roster. But to see them come in on a major again and perform the way they just did against Team Queso, mind you, not a top team, but a good team, they still put out that performance. Yeah, I agree with you totally. It's really good to see from KCP.
Well, map number 2, we're going on the Clocktower. Team Queso does prefer this map, and they honestly are very good on this map, but already off to a bit of a rocky start. Xysho will get away rent-free with the sniper body shot on the Sleeafer. Need to get the finish, but Hndles is just not back on his feet. Xysho in a tough spot. He's going to pick up one. Sleeafer now in a corner. He will die. And what looked to be a bit rocky for Xysho and his teammates now turn into a gold mine as they secure round 1 in just 26 seconds.
Huge. Bronny with 3 kills. Amazing stuff. To see him aggressive as well as ever. Yeah, literally. Literally, and honestly, I'm not even shocked at that point after seeing map number 1. I'll be honest. KCP and Bronny are playing amazingly right now. But I mean, do they need to? Perhaps, maybe. I mean, we have to mention it again. Team Queso won 6-4 last time on this map against them.
That's right.
But KCP, they went for it. They voted for it. Let's see if they can really dish out a performance like we saw map 1.
Down on the Sleeafer, so he's going to have to get back into the fight, but Jaled is also down. Bronny picks up his 4th, going for his 5th. He'll get the finish, and that's going to be 5 for Bronny, 5-0. And I didn't think it could get any quicker than round 1. Well, 26 seconds it will be, in fact, and I don't know if KCP's died. As I take a look, they have not. I mean, Bronny is just silly at this point with 5 kills, Xysho with 3 himself. The way that they punish, though, the big key takeaway from me, Toby, is the way they punish the sniper player, Sleeafer, going for the quick pick.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And it's honestly been the advantage for KCP on this map. It's come major time. They are just so good at managing that really tense, difficult fight down that lane for the snipe that they just seem to make it work on both sides. Look at this flank, mind you, from Hndles. Flying around super fast as well, slowing it down for a second to remain stealthy. Here he comes, 4v3. He has to make it work as they are not in with the numbers right now, but it seems to be like he's on his own. Yeah, a little bit disjointed perhaps, KCP, but rare to see. Of course, Taylor has to be said, but he was essentially fighting 2 or 3 then. 3v2 now with Sleeafer having snipe in hand.
Well, this is great, though, for Team Queso. I mean, you want to talk about bringing it a bit closer, 1-2. You know, getting in your mind, like you said, that first team fight for the scrap time just a little bit earlier on Regency. Like, you know, little things can put your mindset and put it in the most positive way. But still, you have to be nervous for them because Bronny, Xysho, they're the 2 guys who have all the kills for KCP, and they're the 2 guys still on the battlefield. I am dumbfounded by Bronny pushing this top fight as hard as he is. 1v2, Sleeafer with the sniper, and Bronny is still full sending it, but an opportunity maybe down low. This body has to hit, and it will. Problem should get the finish. He does. Bronny last alive, 1v3, pushing up onto Cristalize. The utmost confidence, but confidence or not, it's not going to allow him to win, and finally Team Queso will win a round.
Yep. Good effort from KCP for Bronny as well. Of course, as you pointed out, trying to stretch into that 1v2 and really provide the pressure. Speaking of pressure, he's 6-1 right now, and it's only been 3 rounds. Absolutely crazy from Bronny there. Nuts, and definitely, I mean, he is, to bring it back, that same point, he has cemented himself in this roster, it's safe to say, and he is definitely playing his best gears ever as an individual in this roster, and slotted in very nicely indeed. 4v4, as we get back to full strength on both sides on this initial.
All eyes on Bronny, obviously you have to. 6 kills, like you said, after just 3 rounds. That is truly impressive. Utility from the back pillar player of Team Queso, so be a chance for them to push. The push is in. Does Bronny want to capitalize off of this? He backs up. Utility's going to be out. I think KCP is about to make a counter push, but no, they don't. They pump the brakes and instead allow Sleeafer to get out with the snipe and hit a body.
Stun didn't come through. Now they're forced to really take some hasty action. Bronny not able to come on through. They did get a casualty on both sides, did the team though. Or did both teams. 3v3, making that a 3v2. Good pistoling from Sleeafer there to guarantee and lock in that kill. Ooh, looking for Hndles, has to be careful. Acells are going to be looking to jump off mid-wall, and he does successfully. Team Queso do wrap around. We're back to the previous round, essentially, of 3v2 with snipe in hand for Team Queso.
A wild shot. Hndles will live for the time being. Acells is going to close the gap. Acells could get deadly if he gets up close and personal. He also picked up those nades. Watch out for the flank, though. That could be the difference maker. Jaled just peppering the player. Sleeafer will get the finish, but it is going to be brought down to 1v2, but now it's going to be finished off. And thank goodness, Toby, thank goodness Team Queso finally shows some life. This series might not be done with just yet.
I think you're on the money there. And definitely, thank goodness indeed. Hndles and Acells currently no kills to their names. 0-3 and 0-2 respectively, but does it even matter at this point in time? Right now, Bronny is really just doing amazing work on that runner position, as it's titled, with his aggression. That stun, of course, I mentioned in the previous round, didn't really come through for that counter push that KCP were relying on, so that round really fell through. Are they going to change things up? Yes, they are. They're now going to be proactive and go for that snipe. Xysho has it in his hands, and a trading of downs problems comes out of nowhere with a double, mind you. Jaled flanking round 3v1, Acells on his own. Wow. Team Queso do hold on nonetheless.
I don't know if you caught that. I mean, Problems came, like you said, out of nowhere. He came so quick onto the pressure with Hndles. Hndles didn't even have time to pull out his Nasher. Like, he still had his Lancer out and tried to fight with that. That's just simply not going to work. We get a replay. Here's Problems on the attack. We obviously see Sleefer's perspective, but Problems pushes up so quickly. The Lancer is out. Hndles was nowhere near ready to counter that push.
And he got that up A instantly as well, Taylor, at least guaranteeing a trade if he was going to be shot as soon as he got through that up A corner. So well done from him. Smart, indeed. Nades in hand for Hndles, mind you. Team Queso have realized that, and now they're going to push on through. They have to go past the snipe. They have to change this into more of a numbers situation that goes their way. Instead, it's the opposite. 2v4 now, as KCP do hold their back wall. Sleeper with a snipe. Jaled with one, not able to find any more. Surely this is KCP's round now.
Early, but Sleefer, we've seen him make some great plays. I mean, he manages to stay alive just a little bit longer. Xysho gets a couple of last-minute tags, but everywhere you go, well, Sleefer, you are being seen from KCP's perspective, and just a nice little kind kick, you know, kind of uncharacteristic, really. KCP not beating down, but, you know, that tells to me, personally, like, they're strictly business. I mean, this series, they're saying no. Like, we just want to win it as quickly as possible, assert our dominance. We're taking the series seriously. And that's very apparent. I like it. We're tied up 3-3 heading in to round number 7.
That we are. Nice actually to see KCB changing strats up a little bit, sending Hndles down bottom for the nades. It's really good to see. Again, evidence of them taking it seriously, and they should be. It's 3-3 right now against Team Queso, who they lost to on this map previously.
Bronny pushing up. That's going to be his 11th kill. He's not done with just yet. Cristalize actually will say you're done. Sit down. It's still getting a bit weird. 2v2, the chance for either which roster to win is still available. Sniper was committed for, but nobody was able to get their hands onto it, Toby. So now things will settle down. Both rosters will formulate a plan to win this round.
Your classic 2v2 up top. Execution Clocktower. You love to see it. That's for sure. But right now, KCP, they have mid-wall. I'm curious, actually, to see either team here do try anything too crazy or a little bit crazy here on the push up top. Have we got any utility on either side? No, I don't believe so. No, nothing really to work with there. So yeah, I mean, usually you just see both teams play this one out. It's 3-3. You don't really have to risk too much, but with how these teams have been playing, especially KCP and their confidence from map number 1, I wouldn't be surprised if they do actually try something out in the coming time.
Really, it comes down to overtime, Hill. You'd have to assume that's what they're just waiting for, and it's going to be one just massive fight between all 4 of these players. Nobody wants to break away, because obviously doing so might set yourself up for a 1v2 up top, or at least put your partner in a 1v2. So we see Acells. He's going to be opposite of player 3, so that's going to be Sleefer, and a bit of a rotation. So Hill's actually going to be down low. Both teams just not wanting to rotate too early on. Acells is going to be the first one onto the hill. Nice shots on the Sleepers. He'll fall. Cristalize now last alive 1v2. He's got to really clutch up in this moment, Toby. He's going to get the down onto 1. Can he get up? No! The team pickup is in. He can't get to the hill, and KCP will regain the lead.
Great job from KCP. You got to give it to Acells there. He gained the cover advantage. He ran early, right? He got to the back of the sandbag and he distanced himself, most importantly, Taylor, to make sure that, you know, hey, I'm marking my territory now. You're not getting past this cover. If you do, I'm just going to shoot you down. You're in no man's land at that point because there's such a distance advantage. Never mind the covers around you. And Acells basically asserting himself there and ensuring that KCP had a huge advantage in that last fight. Well played from him.
Things are getting spicy. Will Team Queso be able to answer back? Look at the aggression from Jaled, but did he bite off more than he can chew? He's going to be finished. So well, Problems. Bronny, 13-5. Make that 14-5, and the team ace will come through. And I think Bronny picked up all 4, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. That's an ace in the hole right there, if I've ever seen one. I mean, Taylor, he didn't even get onto the mid-wall before a player of the other team was on his side, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if we just got to the camera late, but he's literally here. He's only just come up the staircase and he's already just like, nope, I'm taking back my side of the map now with 2.
Wow.
Make that a 3rd, and just up A's everywhere, both on his side and the opposition. And boy, did he make that one work. Well played, Bronny.
I didn't think he could do better than he did in the last major, but I mean, he is genuinely taking the reins in the slaying category, even more than Acells. I mean, already down on the problems. He's looking to capitalize, can't get the finish. Bronny's down. Acells has to get the pickup. Acells will be able to. Xysho, sniper in hand, good body. Still a 4v4, but it might change quickly. Team pickup. Xysho misses the shot, and finally, blood will be spilt in the name of Cristalize. Sleeafer on the flank.
They are absolutely aware of Sleeafer's position right now. Sleeafer's got a decision. He has to run early if he's going to do it. He has tried to get out. Xysho not connecting with the snipe. Meanwhile, 2v2 potential for TQ. This is their opportunity here if they can be fast enough, or 2v3 at least. Snipe down low now. TQ problems has got it down. This is opened up now. 3v3. Nade in hand for Sleeafer. He's going to be under a lot of pressure now. KCP have the numbers advantage down, rather down bottom, meaning Team Queso could have perhaps done something up top with the rest of the players, but all they've got for it is map control, and it's not an ideal situation for Team Queso, especially given Xysho has a snipe and can kind of keep the heads down of Lancers, right? In the angles.
Yep. I feel like he's about to connect onto a head. That's not going to be it just yet. Backs up, Nasher in hand. The player soloed up top. That's Xysho.
Yeah.
2v2. I mean, Toby, this is doable now. At this point, Team Queso has brought it from a 4v2 to a 3v2 to now a 2v2. And, I mean, they've been working hard for this without question, but they're making it happen. Good shots. Jaled might fall. Jaled doesn't fall. He gets around the corner just in the nick of time, but this is going to be a tricky push from Team Queso's perspective.
Only one shot for Xysho. Can he make it count? One body check could end this team fight prematurely. Acells lovely down. They have a bit of a pinch, but Team Queso are turning round. The back A will not connect. Overtime is here. And now they have to... Oh, that is just stunning. Absolutely stunning from KCP. They reset, regain their health, and they find that 2v2 victory.
Man, KCP 2-0 up in the series after a dominating map number 1, Regency 359, Clocktower 6-3, Bronny 16-6. Plus, he also gets an ace himself. I mean, not much more that can be said other than the Acells. Love the damage done. I mean, 6 first bloods too. Bronny is that guy, one of my favorite players through and through. Map number 3, we got to see a turning point for Team K, so it's going to be Vasgar Escalation. When we come back, the series will continue. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to day 1 of the Gear Spring Major. I mean, what a performance it was from the side of KCP, not only in map 1, but especially map 2. Bronny finishes off with 15-16 eliminations. Absolutely insane. 6 total first bloods, and not to mention his ace. I'm loving what I'm seeing, and I can't wait to get into map number 3, Toby.
Yeah, you and me both. Absolutely. This was, Acells, that positioning I was talking about earlier. I was really impressed, not only with the clear gameplay, right, from the likes we saw of course, Bronny, but also just the decision-making and the smarts, right? The response to, in terms of the strategies from KCP up top. This was the 4K, of course. The ace, lovely job from Bronny. Just so measured, so calm. I think, you had a mix of aggression there and also just reading the players in more of a defensive position. It's really good to see. Bronny had an excellent time. But yeah, I mean, it was just everything about KCP's performance there on Clocktower. Yes, it wasn't as clear-cut as Regency, that's for sure. But strategically-wise, gameplay-wise, decision-making, it was all there. And I remain to be just as impressed with KCP going into map number 3 now.
Absolutely. Vasgar, though, has been a bit of a trouble point for KCP, or at least it was in the beginning of Split 3. They definitely have improved, and they're starting to look like their strong self once again. The weird thing about KCP, from my observations of casting over them throughout Split 3, is they have this weird tendency to take a bit of a deficit where rounds look like they're going to lose, and all of a sudden they have to make this tremendous push to get a domination. And for some reason, they always find a way to do it. And I think it's that explosive nature, as we've seen not only in Regency, but also on Clocktower as well. But with that being said, that is a thing Team Queso can absolutely capitalize on, but they have to be confident in closing the rounds out. And they don't need, or they can't be scared about accepting that push from KCP when they have to make that dire last second push. Like, okay, bring it on. We got you. We'll shut you down. From your perspective, though, heading into map number 3, what are we thinking from Team Queso? Obviously, let's just simply talk about map perspective or history.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think simply put, we have to give this some context in that KCP have historically been the best Vasgar team we've ever seen on the game. Split 2, the last split was a bit odd, honestly, that we saw kind of KCP really fall in the ranks in that respect statistically, pro league wise on this map. But before then, yeah, they were just by far and away the best. And they've kind of returned, I think, more to that form this one, perhaps not flawlessly, but they have been very good. And it really remains the sense that Team Queso have their work cut out for them now. If they can't win map number 2, especially considering they're really good at Clocktower and they beat KCP last time on that, and you come to this, very, very difficult to do regardless of what your plans might be going into it, whether you have something up your sleeve if you're Team Queso.
They're going to have to really dig deep and really dig deep, because this is not looking good for them in the series. But off to a decent start. Bronny, we've seen how great he's been all night. He's definitely feeling himself. He's feeling confident, but he does lose the tank fight. And, well, Sleeafer is going to lose his fight as well. That was a confident push from Acells' perspective. Cristalize will also drop. And so the 1v1 is won from Team Queso's perspective, but for KCP, they win the team fight. And you can argue that's the more important fight, per se, because now you can send Bronny to fight for B, but he actually backtracks towards A. So it looks like KCP are in it for the long run.
Yeah, Acells straight into a secret man position, of course, on the left-hand side. Unpredictable for those wondering if they can incorporate some more secret mans in their gameplay. If you're on the left hand, of course, people don't expect that typically, that's for sure. Bronny will find the down, but nothing more, as Team Queso do get off to a flying start on one end of the map towards now the A hill, as it's broken. Cristalize trying to get out as well, not able to do so. You have to run early enough, of course, to make sure you cannot be taken down, and KCP read that like a book, flying through to change over the hills.
Couple of skirmishes, more specifically between 1 and 7, Bronny and Problems over on the A hill, and well, we don't even really get a perspective on that because Bronny cleans up the fight so quickly. You got to appreciate the way that he finishes fights. I mean, sometimes getting into a fight is one thing, but being able to finish it quickly is another, and I think KCP does that well. But a lot of changing of hands when it comes to the hills, to be expected with Vasgar, with it being as it is, but we will trade off. Pioneers, they'll keep their lead, they'll keep the 2-1 hill advantage, and Team Queso are getting staggered out, and they're also spread out, so I don't see them getting an effective push on any of the hills.
Yeah, that's what it's about, right? It's being effective within the chaos that is Vasgar. As team typically, default to a ring around a rosy kind of tactic on the map and just keep changing hills as in response to the opposition. And right now it is in response. KCP are leading that pace. They are just a little bit ahead of them, so the points aren't too different in that sense. But in case so, they need to get a grip on this round soon. Otherwise, KCP will guarantee the win shortly with enough points.
Definitely so. Team Queso, can they close it out? That's going to be tough. That's a great reaction, however, Toby, and you got to appreciate that from Xysho and Hndles, the way that they pushed into player 6 Jaled. They understood they had the man advantage. Maybe the A fight goes the way of Team Queso, but that's fine because they've got damage control by being on B. Plus, they cut their win condition down to half, just now to 10 seconds. Plus, the cherry on top, they win the fights that Team Queso was pursuing. Dominant first round from KCP's perspective, and now the love is being shown. This was greatly missed on Clocktower. They were all business, but now KCP are truly starting to feel comfortable, and they feel like this series is already won.
Yeah, I think it seems that way now. It does seem that way. I mean, it wasn't a dramatic round, of course. I mentioned it. KCP were just a little bit ahead of them on that kind of rotation, on that pacing. But yeah, it's good to see that KCP, I guess, returning to themselves a little bit, to show they haven't changed fundamentally personality-wise. But they kind of reeled it in for map number 1 and map number 2, right? They kind of showed that amount of respect and competence, I guess, if you will, and for the competition at hand, I guess, if you want to put it that way. I think it's something to mention right there, as we don't see many significant power weapons coming through, I believe, is the fact that Team Queso actually beat Rise in this map 5-1 in their Pro League matchup. But unfortunately for them, KCP, as we said, are very, very good at this map, and they beat them 5-2 in the last Pro League match on map number 3. KCP versus Team Queso, of course. So even historically, right, in that sense, Team Queso, yeah, can be decent at Vasgar, but KCP have it on lock, it seems like.
Robin's backing away. A lot of pressure from Acells and Hndles at the bottom of those steps. But in the meantime, the smoke will settle, and KCP says we'll take our time. There's no reason to get too antsy at the moment. Xysho on the opposite end is going to have the Bold Talk in conjunction with Bronny, so that fight on tank could go well. First stalemate we're going to see. Granted, we've only seen one round and KCP does lead 1-0, but at this point in time, I mean, these two distinct team fights, we've seen it time in and time again, Toby. Depending on how these play out, one team could get a domination pretty quickly, and in this case, probably would be KCP. And the fight is finally going down.
Bronny, you could see that he's hungry, looking for any opportunity he can use to close the gap and push. Xysho using his own right now. Lovely back A, has the damage advantage. Sleeafer not really much of a response. KCP will continue to leverage that damage advantage. Sleeafer tries to go for the all-in wrap, not going to connect. Well played from KCP.
Played indeed. Now the 2-1 hill advantage goes to Team Queso. Well, not so much as player 3 off the respawn does in fact get on the C. Team Queso's got a lot of real estate, though, and they are pushing and committing for the C fight, Toby. It's going to be a bit of a mismatch, a 3v2, and that puts a lot of pressure on Hndles and Acells. Let's see if they can hold on tight. We've seen them do it before, but look at the pincer. Look at this pinch. KCP are going for it all, and they might get it.
Oh my, Xysho straight for the throat of TQ from behind. Boltok, damage being put through. Is it enough to open the door for Acells to push on through with his teammate? It seems so. One down to his left. Cristalize will surely fall as well. C Hill currently under management, but Sleeafer saving the day on the B Hill. No one close enough to ensure the triple cap can come through, but KCP should guarantee at least a significant points lead now, given their numbers in the map and the ultimate presence really across Vasgar.
I mean, KCP with that pinch was beautiful, and it forced Sleeafer to make the only play, which to get on the hill. I think that was beautifully executed, and it's one step, it's one more layer, Toby, that I'm seeing that KCP is implementing to the aggression and to just overall mind games and controlling Team Queso. Bronny, beautiful two-piece, he'll get the cleanup. A was played around a bit from Team Queso's perspective, but just like that, Sleeafer, last on the map. It's going to be cut down to 24 seconds, and player 2 is going to get on to B. This round's pretty much over with unless something absolutely spectacular happens, but there's not enough time. 4 seconds, the domination's going to take Matobi. It's going to be gone, but 10 seconds, there's nothing to do. This is going to KCP.
Seems so. I think we've had 2 rounds in a row now, Taylor, where we've really played vanilla Vasgar, if you will, double V. And I think it's safe to say that KCP just have the edge here. They are just one step ahead. They're not doing anything too flashy. It's similar to how we saw Rise play this one out earlier. I think we've kind of got a taste of what you'd expect if this carrot continues the way it does. So I'd urge Team Queso to change it up. Throw a weapon down to at least force a guaranteed team fight on one side of the map. In a way that is a bit more, favorable to how your team likes to play. Usually that is the tank side, whether it's, say, a snipe or something. Now, can Jaled and the rest of the team perhaps work out a different strategy to get away from that kind of... Yeah, I think that is their thinking. Cool. Yeah, long shot tank. Classic way to change up Vasgar. And it's not too late either, Taylor. I think they've made the decision at the right time, and hopefully it works out for them.
So Team Queso is going to commit 3. KCP might only commit 2, which, no, we do see the third player. I think they were just trying to gain numbers, Toby, and now they readjust. Which means we are most likely going to have a fight here for the sniper, which is going to be a lot of fun. But a bit of an adjustment. Team Queso will rotate back player 8 of Sleeafer, which is interesting to me because he has the Bolt Talk, which could be great for the team fight on B. But, I mean, you got to appreciate Jaled in a way that he just, bucked up and owned Bronny in that moment. I respect that. Jaled feeling confident. This round starting off a lot smoother than we've seen before for Team Queso.
Yeah, I love it. It just seems like each time a team places a power weapon down early that they seem to get a benefit from it, Taylor. It's twice in a row now. It's happened on Vasgar today just for us casting alone, but it just seems so common. But it's really good to see, honestly. Selfishly, of course, from us from an entertainment point of view, while we cast over to see the gameplay drastically vary as Escalation is known for all these power weapons. Teams need to take advantage of it, I think, and thankfully Team Queso have done it early enough now to provide somewhat of a window, I think, to play ahead.
This 1v1 means a lot. Bronny wins it. Well done. KCP back in control of the objective. How far do they spread their wings? I like that they're overloading the A hill. Most likely Team Queso could be sending some reinforcements that way, but they will split up 2-2. Like you said, double V, vanilla Vasgar all the way. But Team Queso will actually send 3 members down. Hndles, he's going to see this. He needs to identify it and now call out to player 3 of Acells to be ready. What a shot that was. I mean, that rocked me back in my seat, and now he's got 2 people in front of him as opposed to 3, and C was just 1. Team Queso now is in a must-win, and Hndles hits another headshot onto Jaled, and problems now should be pretty dead in this situation. Hndles feeling confident. Acells pushes up. Domination clicks through. And now the sniper can be just as deadly for KCP, because you mentioned it's vanilla, right? The sniper on tank is a pretty typical strategy. Well, KCP was ready for it. They've seen it a million times, and it pays off.
It does. It does. They definitely make it work mid-round. Check these out for headshots. What was beautiful about these for me, Taylor, personally, is that they're lead shots. They're aiming exactly where the players are going to go or going to be. And those are corners. Those are as soon as the stun is thrown to open up a push. Of course, he's ready to take advantage. The snipe comes through on that second shot. Well played from him. And stunning to see KCP really putting on a show, yeah.
You read Blaze's memoir on how to snipe. I mean, that was just deadly. That's probably book number 4 at this point, and just complexity, okay? That was beautiful. Like you said, leading the shots, incredible. Absolutely incredible. And nice to see Hndles do it as opposed to, Xysho. Oh, ring around the rosy we go. A bit of a mental battle. Who's going to get the last shot? Well, it will be Jaled this time around. Second time, Toby, he's won the 1v1 off the rip against Bronny, but the tank fight, is it going to go well for TQ? It doesn't look like it is.
Doesn't seem like at this time they have been pushed off. Meanwhile, Sleeafer has got the right-hand advantage for a second, but look at that for a recovery from Hndles. The revive chain is through. The flank, though, meanwhile, speak of Jaled, he has flanked. Wow! Just in time as well. He's not going to be down from the spawn behind him either, and snipe is the reward. You're right. Jaled has got some great value out of his position in that 1B side, and again, back to a point earlier about these newer players, if you will. Previously, we discussed Cardi has been a player to watch. Jaled is a player to watch for Team Queso being so new. Perhaps cast a curse there, as he is going to be taken down, completely run over by KCP there in a 2v1. But the important thing to mention is that Problems is still alive with the sniper, and they have time on the side.
Problems with sniper. Ooh, he had it too. If he just trusted that shot, now he's forced to back. But look at KCP. They want him dead, and they will get him. And Jaled now, 1v2. Nice shot. He's been played so well in round 4, but Toby, that's going to be the end of his life. Now it's up to Sleeafer on your screen. Well, not so much up to him per se. His teammate did get the cleanup. It's funny. This is the first round we're seeing KCP surviving instead of thriving.
Yeah, you're right. I think the strategy has actually worked out very well for Team Queso since placing the weapon. It was just unfortunate. The mid-round, if you will, of the previous one. Acells, great shot to Cristalize on the flank there. Does get taken down as Problems does capitalize, but Hndles will nonetheless get control of the C-Hill. Point still fairly close, but Team Queso have had the lead for what seems like quite a while now. Bronny's going to have a regrouping on his side. Likewise do Team Queso as the fight tank may erupt soon.
Okay.
Hostile contact!
Once that shock dissipates, does Bronny make the push? Does he at least get into the backside of tank? The Problem's dead. I think that, kind of ups the urgency. Wow, where did he come from? Bronny's probably wondering the same exact thing. Sleeafer, beautiful shot, but, Toby, we saw Team Queso at the beginning in control. I mentioned KCP surviving, not thriving. Now they have the lead once again. They have the objective. And in the last round of the first half, they could go into the second half with a 4-0 lead. This is going to be on a razor's edge. Oh, but a nice shot from Sleeafer. That might have just gave the edge back to Team Queso. Acells will also die. I think TQ is actually going to win a round.
I think you're right. 4v2, 4v3 actually, numbers-wise to be completely accurate. There is the approach in the C-Hill, drawing the numbers. Surely KCP can't get out of this one. Surely not.
Holding my breath. Holding my breath at this point. Whoa, I'm really holding my breath. Okay,
we're good. I checked the minute. We can breathe again.
Wow.
Because who knows, honestly. Who knows?
Wow.
It's that clutch factor, isn't it, Taylor? You mentioned it earlier. It reminds you of, we started, of course, not too long ago, comparing KCP as perhaps developing a dynasty, and then comparing dynasties, of course, that conversation comes up with the best of all, and that's Optic Gaming. And Optic Gaming were known for that, having that clutch factor and winning when it seemed like there was absolutely no chance of doing so. So, yeah, it just goes to show how good KCP are, right, for casters to hold their breaths when a potential clutch situation could present itself. Nonetheless, of course, a round victory for Team Queso. And I'll echo the sentiment from before, Taylor. I think the snipe placement was great from them. KCP, okay. They literally allowed that to do whatever it wanted as he was dragging the cursor across the screen as they just... I'm not sure if they were unsure. I don't think KCP are ever unsure. So it was more like, at this point, their strategy's working, but I mean, do we change, or what are you thinking? Oh, the countdown's run out. Oh, well. That kind of thing, you know?
I think they just, Toby, I really think genuinely KCP just didn't care. I mean, really, they just said, whatever, let's leave it up to fate, see what happens. Yeah. I mean, come on, because why would you place an M-bar? The snipe has been working very well for them, it seems, but I mean, so is the M-bar fight, clearly, but a good team pickup. Jaled getting aggressive up the steps. Acells needs to hit his shots. He misses, and that's going to be an open door now for Team Queso to not only get the neutral hill, but also get their hands onto the M-bar, depending on how Hndles decides to play this. He sees an opportunity. Both Team Queso members are split, but he takes the bait, runs in, and he gets finished off. So M-bar in Sleeafer's hand, that could be a scary prospect. Now, we'll focus our attention. KCP pushing up the Team Queso for the transition to D. Sleeafer trying to be a great disruptor if he possibly can. Misses 2 shots. Now it's going to be a 3-man push. I mean, Sleeafer works so hard for the M-bar, Toby, and now he's got to backtrack. He doesn't want to give up his life.
Yeah, I'm glad he's running early, honestly. There isn't much more he could do from that side, but he can certainly ensure that he's not anywhere close to his opponents there, so he can continue to leverage Ember. Has to be careful now, though, with Xysho having that snipe. Snipe kind of has the lead there, but Xysho does get the headshot. Bronny does find Cristalize, bring it to a 3v2 numbers-wise here on the battlefield temporarily. Sleeafer has to be so careful here that Xysho doesn't just take his head at any moment. Xysho has rotated though. Jaled getting pinched as it stands. He will fall. Cog domination coming in. The rotations will start coming through fast. It will be contested. That E-hill broken for now. Let's see if that snipe can do any more work.
Everywhere Team Queso goes, Toby, Pioneers are sniffing them out, seeing them, and team firing them or sniping them in bar. I mean, they're just doing everything they need to do. Hndles 1v2. He'll die, but Xysho an opportunity. Unfortunately, because Hndles died off, that body shot's not going to amount to much. So 2 more shots remaining. Goes for the head, and he will connect from Hndles to Xysho. Both of them are just nasty. Can we get a twofer? We'll find out very shortly. Either way, though, you have to respect the sniper. Now it's empty.
He's going in.
Just 15 seconds away from victory.
He loves it. That's such aggression from Xysho there. Just flies in for that 1v despite the approaching competition. Countdown, of course, will come on through for KCP. Nonetheless, 4-1 the score. It's just simple, it seems like, for KCP. Despite a successful strategy, as mentioned, in a previous round for the snipe going down, and then quite literally power weapon lottery there for wherever it places both location and the weapon.
That's what it was.
He definitely didn't place that. The cursor was the other end of the map, Taylor. Unless I don't know. I mean, I don't know how that would even be possible, but Ember, of course, was down. Nothing really occurred other than a KCP victory at the end of the day, and some great sniping as always from Xysho.
Fantastic. Hndles and Xysho, both of them just excelling in whatever they do. For Team Queso, 1 round away from losing 3-0 to KCP. Rib set it on the desk best. He doesn't see KCP dropping a series, let alone a map this entire tournament. And my lord, I mean, he might be right, Toby. I've been blown away with the way KCP has dominated Team Queso in this series. It has been magnificent. Great opening kill from Bronny. Problems now through the smoke, just trying to fill it out. You know, who's over there? What can I do? Well, he cuts back, but that's going to be the last thing he's going to do. An explosive initial, but pretty consistently, Team Queso does win that top fight.
Yeah. Xysho again getting the snipe in his hands, 12-4, 19 assists, mind you, in just 5 rounds. Insane numbers there. Now, let's see. Any more headshots on the cards? Perhaps before Vasgar closes out shortly. He will get angled. Jaled again with a flank here. This could be huge. In fact, Team Queso, if they can really snowball this into more, all 4 players on this side of the map. D-Hill just in front, but no. E-Hill is changing hands as it stands. Acells is on his own over here on the D-Hill.
We go. Things are starting to heat up a little bit. Team Queso might be able to take the point lead back relatively soon, but they've got to hold on tight. It's going to be a 3v2 now. Jaled hits a great body shot, follows it up with a second, gets a little bit antsy, pushes in. Unfortunately, doesn't get a finish from that point. Hndles will drop Cristalize. Sleeafer, though, is going to be the hero and be able to get Cristalize back into the fight. So again, Team Queso winning that top fight. They're doing an excellent job doing so, but KCP refuses to give up any momentum. They refuse to give up the point lead. You see them once again locking in the 2-1.
Now you do. 5-13 for Jaled despite his efforts. KCP have really been dominating in the slaying department. Cristalize, great response there. Good shot from him. And D-Hill again changing over. Incense thrown at distance, not going to connect, but it does get some hit markers. Acells says no, shuts him down. Bronny on the flank though as well. Team Queso have made some really quite aggressive approaches from different angles here on Vasgar this time around, but not really led to much right there, I don't think.
Shot from Hndles. I mean, Toby, Team Queso hasn't even traveled very far off of their spawn. We're now down to pretty much the last bit of time here. Team Queso desperately trying to grab F. They can't. Sleeafer will get the M-bar. He's got to be careful, though. Bronny is opposite of him. I like this push from KCP. They're getting aggressive, keeping this hill decapped. 50 seconds, they have the win condition, right? They can play this standoff game really at all points in time. It's up to Team Queso to make the move, but KCP says enough is enough. We're not shy about it. We'll push up, but is it going to work out? Well, they lose 2 of their members. Now that leaves it up to Hndles in a 1v3. Constant refresh. I mean, to his credit, great shots. But another door opened up. I mentioned Bronny on the opposite side against Sleeafer, and he is there. He secures the hill. What a shot that was on the Sleeafer to follow it up right afterwards. And I think it's a little bit too late from Team Queso's perspective, especially with the Acells on the opposite end winning his fights. And Toby, that's going to be it. 5-1 victory, 3-0 in the series. KCP doesn't drop a single map, and Team Queso will suffer a loss. KCP will remain undefeated.
And I'm sure there are no qualms with that at all in terms of predictions. 3-0, a scoreline that KCP have perhaps become accustomed to, especially when it comes to majors. Fantastic performance from them. And honestly, from the maps we saw, it really goes to show how good KCP are playing at this current time. It's a really good insight, actually, into how they're potentially going to be playing this major after coming off winning the last major, of course. Especially that map number 1 in particular, right? That was the true start of their campaign today. That map number 1, what they dished out was simply incredible. But saying that, all of those maps were strong, weren't they? That it's very hard to criticize KCP at this time or criticize any predictions that they could just go on and win the whole major this weekend.
Yep. I mean, like Fran said, set your foundation day one. That's what KCP is doing. Very dominant wins, both times on broadcast, not only on Tuesday against Rebel, but here against Team Queso. Would love to see them battle against tomorrow, maybe a Rise or an E United, a Pittsburgh Knights, and really see how well they do. But I mean, I can't deny it. KCP looking like a championship caliber roster, without question. And Bronny is excelling in every way of the imagination. That man is popping off and going so big, not only on obviously Clocktower, but even on Vasgar, stat leader. Xysho right there neck and neck with them, Toby. I'm so impressed and over the moon for KCP as a whole. For Team Queso, back to the drawing board they go. And Toby, also too, for us, I think we're done for the day, brother, but it's been great working with you.
Likewise, what a fantastic start for the event, I think. Honestly, with the KCP team playing really, really well, and Rise earlier as well was super impressive. I think what we've casted so far alone, I'm truly impressed from all the teams that we've seen, and business as usual, perhaps for the top ones.
Toby, a lot of love for you, brother. You killed it today, and I can't wait for tomorrow. I really can't, but of course, we still have many more matches to take place today. And the analysts, they've got to break down this series. Ribs, you were correct. KCP might not drop a map this entire week.
That's right. KCP looking great. That's really been the story of today so far, right, Ribs? I mean, it's been a 3-0 dominant win for the Pittsburgh Knights, 3-0 dominant win for the Kansas City Pioneers. Rise dropped a map, surprisingly, but so far, all of our expected Titans performing.
Yeah, I remember I said it yesterday off stream. I was like, yeah, I mean, this is the best team right now Gears 5 has ever had. And Fran was sitting right there. He's like, wait, but what about, what about my team? The rest
whoa,
we won
relax.
the only LAN events. I mean, Fran, if you want to argue your point, go ahead. But this KCP team is the dynasty of Gears 5, and they have the track record to back it.
I mean, we can go back and forth. I'm still a defending champ in my eyes. But yeah, I mean, no. Obviously, they've won so many events at this point that they are the dynasty of Gears 5, and they're proving it day in and day out. Every major, like I said it earlier, like sometimes you don't know what to expect from certain teams, but when KCP comes to a major, they're gonna perform, and they just keep doing it. And it's like, are they gonna do it this time? You keep asking that question, they keep proving us wrong, and that's just how they're built. They're just built different.
Fran's just a purist, right? He's like, hey, if it's not LAN, if it's not in person at an event in a venue with pressure, it doesn't count. Hence why he says he's the defending champ. I don't know. There might be some truism to that. Ribs, do you agree?
We're all LAN players, and we were fortunate enough to play on LAN. And I wish some of these guys had the opportunity or have the opportunity in the future to play on LAN. Guys like Bronny. I mean, a lot of people slept on him. We saw him on Clocktower completely take over. He's impressing me because he already impressed me last major. He showed that he could fill the shoes of precision. He could help this team maintain a championship caliber of play. But he seems to have improved. It seems like he's playing even more comfortable, more loose. He's taking more risks. And if that continues out throughout the weekend, people are going to be in a lot of trouble whenever they face off against the Pioneers.
Yeah, that is true. And honestly, Bronny was kind of the X factor for this team, right? He had big shoes to fill. Precision made the big decision to switch over to Halo Infinite. Has been finding some decent success over there, so kudos to him and wishing him the best. But Bronny came in, and I don't think he played out of his mind necessarily. I don't think he played up to Precision's caliber. He didn't fill those shoes entirely. If Precision's wears a 10, someone tells me Precision wears like a 9.5, 10. Bronny was maybe filling in like an 8.5, 8, But this event, my man is wearing size 14 shoes, without a doubt. He's playing out of his mind, and he is performing to a T, Ribs.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm very proud of that kid. And then, of course, like we talked about, the core three of KCP just continuing to be so amazing. On the side of Team Queso, they showed some life on Clocktower. Regency control was a complete trouncing. And then, you get to Vasgar. We see the M-bar, the sniper down. But KCP is just playing at a completely different pace. At the same time, they're so controlled in a lot of their fights. Completely and utterly outclassed was Team Queso. This is pool play day, though. They're going to have a lot of tough matchups throughout the weekend. Playing against KCP was like a nice little measuring stick for them, but they're not up to par just yet to face off against the defending champions.
That's right. Perhaps a little bit of a wake-up call for them of, hey, look, you have to clearly get together tonight, go back to the drawing board, figure out what did not go well, and wake up for Saturday, Sunday. That's what's awesome about this pool play format. Yeah, you could drop a game in pool play, but you got to place top three. So let's take a look at the overall standings, because if you don't get top three, you are eliminated from the tournament, period. And right now, Hive 0-1, Queso 1-1. They're looking solid. They should be able to qualify through. Wake up call indeed. But outside of that, it's really what we expected. 2-0 for Rise, 2-0 for Defiance. That's going to set us up for one heck of a Rise versus Defiance matchup later tonight. I can't wait for that one. United 1-0, Pittsburgh Knights 1-0 as well. Anything stand out to you as interesting here, friend?
That Fury 1 MC match is gonna be a big match. One of those guys are going to be eliminated today. And, Defiance really showed up. We'll see how they do against Rise. But beating Fury 1 was, that's a good team. Fury 1 is a good team. We've been saying they're a dark horse team all weekend long. So beating them is kind of a statement maker. And then MC is not a pushover. Defiance had some trouble with them too. So let's see what MC can do. I have a lot of confidence in Gary. He's always been a great player. Let's see what these players do in the face of adversity.
That is a do or die matchup. Win or go home and have to watch on Twitch with everybody else for the rest of the weekend. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Of course, you can watch every single match this tournament, which is just crazy to think about, on either our Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, or Delta streams. Tune in and enjoy the gameplay. We're going to jump to a very quick break. When we come back, we will be starting the pregame show for our next matchup. Stay tuned, get some popcorn, take a little break. We'll be back in just about 5 to 10 minutes.